Hi there, everyone. Thanks for joining us for tonight's special screening of Lift Like a Girl. This film is written and directed and produced by Mayye Zayed, and it's actually going to be moderated by Rachel Gandin Marks, who is the School of Cinematic Arts Director of International Programs and runs the American Film Showcase here. So they'll be joining us after the film for that Q&A. Film runs about an hour, a little over an hour and a half, so be sure to stick around. And without further ado, enjoy the show. Thanks. All right, real quick, before I introduce our guest and moderator, I want to remind people for the audience portion of the Q&A, type your questions into the little Q&A box, and I will actually invite you up to ask your question on the panel, where you can leave your video on or off. If you don't want that, just specify with your question you'd rather have the moderator read. And also keep an eye on the chat box where I like to sort of let people know when they're up next so they can be ready. So without further ado, please welcome our guest, filmmaker Mayye Zayed, and Director of International Programs at SCA, Rachel Gandin Mark. All yours, Rachel.
Hi, May.
Hi, Rachel.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So what time is it in Egypt right now?
It's 5:30 a.m.
Amazing. I hope you have caffeine. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you. Just so everyone is aware, I run a program out of the USC School of Cinematic Arts called the American Film Showcase, which is a grant program from the US State Department that, among other things, brings international filmmakers working on their first feature-length documentary to USC for 2 weeks. And May, I met that way in 2015, I believe, when Lift Like a Girl was actually already had shot quite a bit, but was a long way from where it has arrived. So it's just, I'm very excited to have seen it, and to see all the credits and the journey that you've been through. So I have a lot of questions for you, but of course we'll turn it over to the audience eventually. So first, I just want to ask you about kind of how you found yourself in, how you met Captain Ramadan and his school from the beginning.
Well, actually, I knew about Nahla a long time ago. I remember when I was, I think, 18 years old, back in 2003. One day I read in the news about this Egyptian girl winning gold medals at the World Championships in weightlifting. And it was something that I really didn't know about. And I was so touched by the story because, she was a normal person, training in the streets of Alexandria with her father. And it really touched me, the story. And it stayed with me. And I became somehow like obsessed, reading everything about it in the news and everything. And I felt so inspired by how, how she had to overcome a lot of stuff to achieve her dream. And back then, I wasn't making any films, or I had no expectations to be making films one day, even. And Nahla stayed with me in a way that she became like a sport icon, that many Egyptians have really followed her news. Like when she was competing at the Olympics, everybody was cheering for her, praying for her. And then in 2014, I got to meet Captain Ramadan through the second unit director of the film, and then when I went there, I found that Captain Ramadan is Nahla's father and coach, and he hasn't only been training Nahla, but he also trained a lot of women, and he made this space out of nothing, and made it a place for a lot of girls that that they can train in. you know, try to achieve their dreams. So then, you know, I feel that the space itself is so inspiring, and it's not really about Nahla anymore, but more about this generation, you know, of young girls that believed in this dream and tried to achieve it. Yeah, and this is how it all started.
So how did you decide to focus on Zebiba?
Well, that was that took some time actually, because I remember, you know, when I first attended the American Film Showcase, I at that time I was really like focusing on three different girls in different age groups. Zebiba was one of them, and you know, I always felt that like I had a sort of a connection with Zebiba, but I wasn't really sure if it should be just about her or like, you know, the three girls. But then after spending some time, I realized that, you know, Zebiba was the perfect character for the story I want to tell, because first she was just starting her journey, you know, in this world of weightlifting, and so she will be a character that we can follow right from the beginning and hopefully till she makes it. And the second thing, you know, I felt that she had the most special relationship with Captain Ramadan, and that was something that made me really drawn to her and her relationship with the coach. And also, I think the most important thing is that one day I had a talk with Captain Ramadan, and I told him about my thoughts on how I really want to focus on just one girl, and I didn't tell him that I'm thinking of Zebiba. I just wanted to hear, you know, his feedback, and I asked him, who from all these girls would you think would, you know, would be the one that would make it eventually? And he said Zebiba immediately. So then I felt that okay, it's just, you know, all my, like, my feeling is right, and that she is the one that I should really keep on following.
Hmm. I mean, I could ask you 40 questions about Captain Ramadan. So, I mean, he's such a compelling character. So, like, you can't believe he's real. He seems scripted.
Yeah.
I would love to learn more about him, and like, how long had this space existed before you met him, and what's his background?
Well, he used to be a weightlifter himself, so and he was competing as well, and he spent more than 20 years training women to be weightlifters. Nahla and Nagam, his two daughters, were the first Egyptian women to play the sport. Nahla, his eldest daughter, is also a bronze medalist, world junior champion in the sport, and yeah, so he started with his daughters. He started actually training both his girls and boys, because he also has two other sons, and he always says that it was the girls that really made it, you know. And he continued on training just women, and very recently, I think around 10 years ago, he started training men as well, you know, side by side to women.
You know, like when you meet him, he's just like sitting in this dusty, I don't know what you call it, just like this space, and it feels like he's just this random guy. Like you would never know that he has children who've been Olympians. I mean, how are we like meant to reconcile that? You know, is that just normal that this guy, does he have no support? I mean, how
Yeah,
does that
no, I
happen?
mean it's not normal, and I think that what really attracted me to this place and to Captain Ramadan and the girls, because they really they are people who really don't wait, you know, for the circumstances to be great, you know, for them to do and achieve what they want to achieve. But I think they have this passion and determination that just drive them, you know, despite everything. And you would never ever imagine that in this, you know, in this space, in this training site, in you know, in front of the harbor, in the middle of the streets, in a very busy street, actually, you would find a coach who is spending all his days training these girls. And I remember that at the beginning when I met him, I had this question like, why is he doing this? You know, I really wanted to know. I thought that there might be another thing, you know, or another reason he's doing it. But then after spending some time, I realized that it's just he's doing it because he's passionate about it, because he feels that this is who he is. And this is something that he was always saying to the girls and to the boys training there, is that you just have to do your work. And for him, this was his work, and this is what he was passionate about. So he did it, and convinced everybody around him to do it, and earned respect in that way.
Hmm. So it's a bit hard, I think, you know, being not Egyptian, contextualizing the lives of these girls, because we don't really see their lives outside of the training.
Mhm.
And so it's hard to understand, like, is this very weird that they're doing this? Is this because they don't see their, you as a viewer don't really see any like struggle for them about that, like, oh, that their peers are judging them or anything. Like, what does it mean for them to be part of this community?
Well, you know, I think it's not that common, to be honest. But most of the girls that there are in the film have very supportive parents, you know, because you know they really like support them, and they see each other, you know, because they all live in this neighborhood. So so most of them, you know, when I ask them how did you all start, you know, playing this sport, and the story is always like this, you know, as little girls they would walk by this place and they would see other girls training, and they would feel that, oh, they want to do this, so they do it, or they start doing it, and in a way they created their own community, you know, where they're all supportive to each other and they really help one another, despite anything else. And I really wanted to focus on this, you know, because we see a lot of stories about, you know, about people struggling outside of this, outside of their environments, or not, or having like peers who just make fun of them, and yeah. So I tried to have this scene in the film in a way, you know, from the outside world, and I just wanted to focus on this training site, you know, with this fence, and then you see passengers passing by, and some would just stop and admire what these girls are doing. Others would harass them in a way.
Hmm.
So I tried to really show this, but without getting outside of the training site, because I really wanted. That was one of the earliest decisions that I made regarding this story, is that I really want to stay in this location and not go out, and just film these girls in this space where they feel empowered, where they feel free, where they feel, you know, happy because of what they're doing.
You know, there's a handful of scenes where he is just like his kind of radical feminist rants
Mhm.
within the context of his own, maybe not radical, but pretty progressive views about women and girls. And I mean, I know you've shown the film in Egypt and you've obviously gotten a number of awards. And I'm so curious to know, like, how he as a character in the film in general has been received in Egypt.
It has been received very well, actually, like beyond my expectations. Like people really loved it. Like the audience loved it, the critics loved it. So I'm very happy. And in Cairo, like at the festival, we won the audience award. That was one of the awards, and it's really great because um, usually documentaries don't, you know, don't have that popularity. So just winning the audience award was something that I really wasn't expecting, and I was so happy to know, you know.
You know, I know that the obviously like the normal festival circuit is not possible right now, but I think that the Cairo International Film Festival was in person.
Yes, it
Were
was.
the girls able to come with you to any of this and actually
Yeah, I
see it?
all of them were there. Like they came with me. We had the premiere. We had a red carpet, and they even brought weights to the red carpet, so they lifted weights on the red carpet, and even on stage. And Nahla Ramadan even showed up, and because she couldn't really lift weights for some time because of her illness, but she decided to lift for the first time in many years on stage, and it was really like it was such an emotional moment for all of us. And they even attended the award ceremony at the end, like, and I took them all with me, you know, on stage when we were receiving the awards. So they really, like, they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I couldn't, you know, I couldn't imagine a better situation, you know, because the previous screenings of the film, like, they all happened online, so I had no chance of really being with, you know, with them or with the audience. So the screening in Cairo was really special.
So of course, the sort of mystery of the film is like, what did he die of? How did he die? It
Yeah.
feels quite sudden in the
Mhm.
film.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that that was something that I thought of when he got sick, because he got so sick in a very short time, you know. So it happened so quickly, and at that time I was really respecting the family's feelings, you know, and I just wanted to be there with them, as you know, as one of the team, you know. um and I remember that when I felt that he's getting more sick, I decided that we can really edit something very roughly of all the footage that we shot, just to let him watch it, you know, because I had this feeling that he might not really make it till we finish the film. And I was lucky enough to let him watch, you know, 30 minutes of footage. And I know that he enjoyed it. Like, I didn't have the chance to meet him because I think the last month before he died, he was so sick, and he refused to meet anybody because he didn't want anyone to see him that sick, you know. um and then when he died, I remember that, you know, I went to the funeral with the DP, but we went without any cameras or anything, and it was really such a hard time for us. And at that time, I even felt that, you know, maybe I shouldn't be making the film anymore, because, you know, because he was he wasn't just a father figure to the girls or to Zebiba, but also to me and the DP. Like, we really loved him, and we knew that he really loved us and trusted us. But the next day, actually, after the funeral, I got a call from Isra, one of the girls, and Zebiba, and they both asked me where were we, because they really want us to be with them, and to film what they decided to do. And then they started, you know, they started painting the training site, and that we see in the film, actually. But in reality, that happened really after the death, like a day or two. And I felt that, okay, if they want us with them, then we'll go for sure. And yeah, and then we continued working on the film. But his death was such a big thing. And in the editing, I really worked with the editor on how to show it, you know, the way it happened. Because yeah, I know that it's sudden in the film, but death is also sudden in reality. You know, when you think of it, sometimes people just die, and you don't expect it. So we also wanted to have this, like, we didn't want to, like, we wanted the audience to feel that they were with him, you know, just the day before he died, and then he dies. So yeah, and I hope we succeeded in doing so.
Totally. Um, I mean, there's a little foreshadowing when he talks about how he's going to live to be 100 and something,
Yeah.
right? So um, we weren't completely blindsided. But I mean, I guess, of course, the question is what's happening with the girls. And, you know, there's a mention of Tokyo. Obviously, we all know watching that, like, it didn't happen. So what's happening with Zebiba and her
Well,
friend?
you know, now Zebiba is still training in the training site. Nahla Ramadan is now the lead of the training. Like, she's training all the girls. But very recently, there was this international ban from competitions for the national Egyptian team, because of doping. Some athletes, yeah, got involved in doping, and then the whole team was banned. And despite, you know, despite the fact that Zebiba was not among these athletes, or the coach or anything, but it affected the whole team. And then now they are facing this 2-year ban. But that happened before COVID. And with COVID, it's just like everything is stopping in a way. But what they're deciding is that they want to take this this time as a way to improve themselves, you know, and train more and work harder, just to be prepared for the next World Championships, hopefully next year or in 2022.
Cool. I hope they can go.
Yeah,
we'll all be rooting for them. I'm sure. Yeah, so should we open it up to questions there are some questions.
Yeah.
Actually, one more question that I have for you.
Okay.
When I met you in 2015, the film was already called Lift Like a Girl.
Yeah.
And there's the line in the at the very end, I think it's Nahla who says, like, lift like a man, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was that sort of, I don't know, like, what was you thinking about that? And just like, you know, was this like filmmaking gold, or did it just feel like, you know?
Well,
But,
okay,
yeah.
I'll tell you about the title, you know, because at the beginning, when I thought about the title, I felt that, okay, I'm trying to tell a story about female weightlifters, so it should be something like Lift Like a Girl, you know, and it's a title that stayed with me, you know, throughout the whole process. And then when we started editing and I worked with the editor on the story, I realized, you know, that that throughout the film, everybody keeps telling Zebiba to man up, or like just live like a man, or like it is their way, you know, to talk to one another, and sometimes even the coach's way to talk to them, which is something that I don't really agree with, you know. But at the same time, from my position as a filmmaker, I try to capture the reality as much as I can, and I couldn't really just intervene when all these conversations were taking place. But I felt that what I can really do is that I can choose the title, you know, and I can tell Zebiba and other girls to just live like a girl, and for me, the moment when Nahla at the end was telling Zebiba about how to live like a man, or like be a man, I was so surprised, you know, because in the Egyptian weightlifting history, no athlete, male or female, has done what Nahla has done, you know. And she could have just told her, live like Nahla, you know, and it would have been much stronger. But again, because it's really embedded in the culture, that, you know, we don't have in the language any words or expressions that can people use for women, you know. And so these girls and many others, even like my friends and family, use terms like that, you know, because this is what we know, you know, in Egypt about being strong. But what was really interesting is that, you know, in the same scene at the end, there is this little girl who just tells Zebiba to be strong, you know, because she's not affected yet by the culture, or like, you know, or the gender bias in the language, which I'm sure is not only in Arabic but in other languages as well. So I found that very interesting, and then I felt that the title even got better, you know, with time.
Totally. So I think, Matt, how does this work for our audience?
So I'm gonna introduce up the first person, who's actually more of a comment, but I really like what they had to say. And then if you're following the chat, everyone in the audience, just keep an eye out for your name to call. I'll give you kind of the heads up. But I'm gonna bring Deborah up now, and then give them the opportunity to turn on their camera, or not. You know, you can also just ask it with audio. Totally up to you.
Deborah, you're muted if you're trying to ask a question.
Are you with us, Deborah? I hope we didn't miss you. Okay, well, we can come back to that one, and let's do Aya Farag. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Deborah, we're gonna move you down. Aya, are you there? Are we 0 for 2? All right, let's we can come back to you. Let's go to Mark Harris. Mark, don't let me down, buddy.
May, how are you? It's
How are
great.
you?
It's great to see you.
Yes, same here.
You know, I saw this film at a much earlier stage. It's come such a long way. It's really a tribute to your persistence, keeping to keep filming. And you know, it's just sort of it's really lovely because the film is about the space as well as about the characters. And you see at the beginning this sort of barren, rocky space, and you see the captain planting seeds. And then at the very end, you see Zebiba watering the seeds. And it's just a beautiful image. And I wondered how, and this is like, she's 18 now. I wonder how you decided that you needed that ending and how you chose that ending, because it's so lovely.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you, first of all. But actually, the last scene was the last scene that we shot, and we shot it after editing, or like while we were editing, because we felt that there is something that's missing. You know, like previously, the film would end on the last championship, but then we felt that it ends abruptly, and we just needed like you know, like an ending scene where we're back to the training site. And I talked with the editor, Sarah Abdullah, on how it's really better to just, you know, to start at the training site and end there and not end somewhere else. And we, you know, I think the line with planting and you know, and watering plants was something that came later in the editing process. Like it wasn't something that we thought of at the beginning, but more after having some different cuts and just feeling that, okay, how about we just add this here? Or like we start with Captain Ramadan watering the plants, because at the while editing, we really struggled to find a beginning scene, you know, for the training site to introduce the space, Captain Ramadan, Zebiba, and everybody. And then once, because we had a lot of other scenes that had other nice moments, but then when we settled on this one and we felt that this is the best scene that we want to introduce the place with, we realized that it would be nice to have, you know, to see the same place after all these years, and have, you know, and have Zebiba just, you know, by herself, because it became something after the death of the coach, is that everybody started to take care of these plants that the captain planted.
Well, it's a great metaphor, because it's like what he's sown now flourishes. So it's congratulations, lovely film. And I'm so glad that you kept at it and kept filming, because it made such a difference, such a transformation from the first cut that I saw many years ago. So it's great to see you, and it's great to see what you've accomplished.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, sorry, I just brought up Alice de Malanta. So let's see. Alice or Elise, are you with us there? This is not our night.
I have more questions for you if you. Well,
All right.
while we wait, if you
Well, we'll come back to you, Alice. We'll send you back. Rachel, go ahead and continue on with your questions, and we'll let some more people trickle in or come back from their bathroom break.
So I, you know, watching this film, there's like a quality of a lot of the characters, especially Captain Ramadan, where it's like this intensity of both, like what I think might be perceived as like harsh, like just being extremely direct and kind of harsh, and also like extreme love and obsession, and like his excitement. It's just like he's like a lot all around, and I feel like I associate this with Egypt, you know, like I'll just it's like it sort of is a lot of like the sort of Egyptian character, if there's such a thing. And I wonder how you've been, you know, in screenings that have happened outside of Egypt, what kind of responses you've gotten.
Well, actually, I think the responses were really good. I mean, like some people, of course, loved Captain Ramadan. Others didn't really understand him, you know. But I felt, you know, because some people really thought that he might be really harsh, you know, and they have never been to Egypt, so they don't know, you know, that that he is, of course, he can be, you know, grumpy sometimes, but it's really like he really loves these kids. But I got a lot of feedback about how they couldn't really believe that he would have this way of thinking, you know, this progressive way of thinking, and you know, and this big belief in all these girls. So I think, I think many people really loved Captain Ramadan, his character, and others really didn't quite understand him, or felt that, you know, they don't know, or like they don't know how or why he's treating the girl sometimes like this or like that. And others found it very interesting that, you know, he and Zebiba have a big contrast in characters, you know, because he is this very loud character, you know, an extrovert who really speaks what he thinks of, and she, on the other hand, is this introvert who's really like, you know, calm and quiet, and doesn't speak that much, but you can see it, you know, on in her eyes or in her face. So yeah, I really like I'm still screening the film at festivals, so I'm always curious to know how people, you know, perceive the film and the characters, and if they really understand them or not. But it is something that I really decided while making this film, is that I won't try to sugarcoat any of the characters, you know, that I would just, you know, present them as they are, so that the audience feel that they are really living with these people, or like they have met them really, not just, you know, not just something for the camera or for the film.
So Matt, should we go to the other?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were following up there. I'm gonna bring up Raj Vora now. So Raj, you're on your way.
Oh my God, thank you for sharing the film. Thank you, Rachel and Matthew and Alex. You made always our evening much enjoyable. We love the film. I had a question. Is the government not providing the financial support to the women's sport? Is it because of the woman?
No, actually the government is supporting, you know, like the place, in a not really the place, but like the place is self-funded, and it's not just because they're women, but more because, you know, because they're not playing football, you know, like I think the support is mainly focusing on football as a sport, so that other sports are not really having the needed attention. Yeah, unfortunately, and I really hope that, you know, the film can really shed some light on these women, on their training conditions, so that, you know, so that people and the government help them more.
And also, while in the very first competition, the other guy encourages her to drink the juice and eat something. Is it something of the different coach from the different girl? Whether he was in the
Actually,
state level?
No. This person is the son of Captain Ramadan. He is
Okay.
he's also a coach, and he trains the girls now with Nahla Ramadan, the captain's daughter.
And what is the current condition of the women sports or tournament like this one from the governmental support?
Sorry.
How is the current condition for the women-related sports or participations from the government? Is it very cooperative, very helpful, or so conservative, much tighter? And the coach was really good.
Well, actually, I think the problem is that the sport they're playing is not really mainstream. Like weightlifting is although it is the sport that had the most achievements in Egypt, that it's not really getting the much attention like in media or like from the government, and it's like because it's not really football, and they're not really based in Cairo, and that's another thing, you know, that that Cairo as the capital gets all the attention, but then other cities or like other sports other than football don't really get that much attention, unfortunately.
Your film really showed the dedication and hard work. Definitely pays off, and really hats up to you. Thank you very much for sharing your film.
Thank you
Good
so
luck.
much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
All right, before we go to our next one, Aya Farag could not access their mic, so I'm gonna read this one for them. I love how this movie tracks these young women for all this long time. However, I get this feeling from the movie that at some point, some of these girls were not following their dreams anymore, but instead they were fulfilling their parents' coaches' dreams, or maybe that they had to continue because they already started and got here. Is that true?
I don't think so, because actually, like, you know, throughout the 4 years of shooting, many girls have actually quit training. Some of them just decided to quit because they wanted to either go and work, you know, and just to pay their bills. Others stopped training because they wanted to get married, or others stopped training for many other reasons. And I really tried in the film to focus on the girls that stayed and didn't really quit. There might be, I really don't know, but there might be some of them might be fulfilling like the dreams of their parents, or like or the coach, but I don't think so, that this applies to the majority of them. Because if you're not really passionate and dedicated about what you're doing yourself, like you have a lot of reasons to quit, because you know, because you're training in the middle of the streets. You're literally sniffing dust, you know, as you train, and like even the training site, it's in a very busy street that, you know, if I'm standing right next to someone, I won't really hear them because of the noise. So all these things, if you really don't believe in what you're doing, I don't think you will continue doing it. And that's why I personally believe that all the girls, or like most of them at least, that are in the film are really dedicated to the sport themselves and to the dream, and they keep going because they could have quit, but they didn't.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's bring up Brandy, who's been waiting for a while. Are you with us, Brandy?
Yeah, hi, sorry. My daughter and I really loved the film. Thank you so much. And we both were talking about how close you physically seem to get to the characters. Like, I'm curious about, is it just you and your DP? And like, I don't know anything about cameras, but how big is the camera? Do you have a sound person as well? Could you just talk a little bit about those kind of things? Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were always a very minimal crew. It was always me and the DP. And sometimes we would have, like at the beginning, we would have a sound recordist, or sometimes a second unit director. So we were always like 2 or 3 persons maximum. But then the majority of the film was shot with me recording sound and the DP filming. And sometimes in championships, where things are happening so fast, we would have another camera. And in this case, I would be filming with the other camera and recording sound, and the DP would be filming with his camera. And the cameras we used are small DSLR cameras. You know, because we really we wanted to create this intimacy with them and basically have them forget about us. And at the beginning, that was not really easy because Captain Ramadan and the girls thought that we were journalists, so they thought that we were there just to film a reportage about them. And I remember that I talked to Captain Ramadan one day and explained to him what we're trying to do, and that we just I just need him to forget about us and just be as normal as possible. And he immediately just just got it and started forgetting about us. And since that moment on, no one really paid attention to the camera anymore. But again, I mean, we spent 4 years with them, so I think, I mean, after 4 years, you really build this trusting relationship. And I remember that right from the beginning, I was so clear with the girls that if they ever feel uncomfortable with the camera, or if they just want me or the DP to turn off the camera or the sound, they just let me know. And that didn't really happen except once. In the first championship, Zebiba was so nervous. So she came to me and said, could you please film me? Don't film in a close shot. Just the camera, having the camera that close makes me more nervous. So could you please film from a distance? And we immediately did that. So when you watch the scene now, it's all from wide shots because she asked for that. So I think this kind of relationship that we had helped a lot in the scenes and how they are shot in the film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Nestor, you're on if you can hear us.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Nestor.
Hi. Well, first of all, congratulations. It's really exciting to see the finished film. So congrats on that.
Thank you so much.
My question, I guess, you spent years with Zebiba and everyone on the crew. Has it been hard for you to not see them, often, or not talk to them, not be there with them? I mean, I know with COVID, it's probably a little different, but still, this was 4 years of your life. What's it like now?
Yeah. I mean, I never really stopped seeing them because I was always visiting them, even while we were editing, because they knew that I was editing in Cairo. So, so I would go and visit them every now and then. Of course, not as often as I used to when we were shooting, but I would go and they would ask me, oh, where were we? And why it took us so long to visit them. And I always go, with the DP or someone from the team to visit them. And I was so happy during the festival in Cairo, because I got the chance to spend some time with them, we spent, I think, the 10 days of the festival together. So that was nice. But we always talk on the phone, I follow them on social media and they follow me. So we always text. It's just, I believe that I've become part of the team in a way or another, so yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, congrats again. I'll see you around.
You. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we couldn't get Deborah on here. I do want to read her statement, or Rachel, you can if you can see it.
Sure. Yeah, I will happily. Deborah says, it was an amazing story. Thank you for sharing this with us. I recently took up powerlifting and there are so few women. This was really inspiring. All the best to Zebiba and the team, as well as to you and your future projects, which is a great segue to, so what's next? I mean, I think that obviously Zebiba will be with you forever, but do you have any idea on what your next project is?
Well, yeah, actually, I'm working on a fiction film this time, and it's a feature length, and it's called Rainbows Don't Last Long. So, but I'm still, you know, in the writing process. So I hope that, you know, I really finish working on Live Like a Girl to be able to work on this new one. Yeah.
I see there's a comment. Hold on. One more. Sorry. Yeah, let's do one more comment and then we'll wrap it up. How about Matt? Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't bring them up while being muted, but they should be coming up now.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw that Imelda wanted us to read it. Imelda, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I'm going to take you off. And,
I'll read it. It's cool.
Rachel, do you want to read it?
Yep. So Imelda says, the girls are stars and so interesting and diverse. Could you share other aspects of their life and how they spend their time, such as are they in school or work, family obligations, how much time they spend training, etc. Also, where is the mother of Nahla and what does she think of weightlifting? I think maybe she means Zebiba, but perhaps I'm wrong. Imelda, let me know if you're asking about Nahla, so Captain Ramadan's wife or Zebiba's mom. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, the girls spend most of their time in the training site. And that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to focus on this place. Yeah, so the young girls would go to school in the morning and then they would come back. They would finish school and sometimes even come with their uniform, you know, to train. And the older girls are mainly working as coaches for weightlifting, like weightlifting coaches in other gyms around the area or the neighborhood. But they are also committed to helping other girls in the training site. Because as I said before, the training site is self-funded, it's free, it's open to everyone. So all these girls start training from a young age without paying anything. But in a way, they feel that they need to give back when they are older and they have the experience to train others. So basically it works like this, you know, the older girls or boys are training the younger ones, or like the one with the more experience trains the less experienced one. And regarding Nahla's mother, she died many years ago, and so she wasn't really there. And for Zebiba, like if the comment is about her mother, she was there and you could see her in some moments in the film, but maybe she wasn't that much available as other mothers or parents for other girls. And that was something that, you know, in the editing, we really try to, this thing was something that we talked about a lot, the editor and I, on how to really have Zebiba's mother present in the film, because we didn't want to show her that she was present all the time, while in reality she wasn't. And at the same time, we didn't want to show that she wasn't there while she was. So we tried to balance this, you know, in editing, to have her seen in some moments, but not there in other moments, which happened in reality as well.
Excellent. Well, this feels like full circle, honestly, for us. I mean, it's so amazing to see, you know, to be able to do a USC screening and also to have you. I know that you're, you know, I think for consideration for an Oscar, right?
Yeah.
From Egypt, which is amazing. And obviously we're rooting for you. So Matt, do I need to do anything else at this point?
I don't think so. If you have no follow-ups, I think that's all we got here.
Awesome.
You did a great job. I appreciate you both being here and doing this tonight. This is a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, May. Thanks, Matt. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Bye.
Take care.